o'clock and I've got a lot of material to cover. I'm Dr. Scott Werner. This is my 5th visit to this library. Actually, no, I've had more than that because I've done more than that lecturing. It's probably my 8th time to the library and my 5th time to Fairfield, Iowa. I have kind of an interesting story about why I came to Fairfield, and Janet's sitting back here, so she might remember this, but I had a dream and Maharishi came to me and said, go detox my people, and I'm like, okay. And the next morning, Janet called me, and she had 18 people that wanted to lose weight and have intuitive readings and do different things, and that was like the second messenger saying, you need to come to Fairfield. And so I planned a trip for April of 2011. And in that trip, I was able to see many, many people and help them get on a course for detoxing the body.
74.
Yeah. And it was excellent. It was absolutely fabulous because we were planning to go to Europe. And on my manifestation board, I needed to earn some money, and I made the exact amount of money I wanted to earn, and went to Europe and had a great time. But one of the things that I really noticed was everybody needs more follow-up, and when your doctor heads off to Europe, it's like, whoa, where'd he go? And our energy kind of stays with us and does certain things to help us heal. And so what I'm going to talk about tonight is transphenomenal healing. Has any member, you or any member of your family or friends, ever experienced a healing you can't explain? And I think that all of us can think of some magical healing that has happened, some miracle. Byron Katie made a famous statement. When you argue with reality, you only lose 100% of the time. And I tend to disagree with that argument because I argue with reality all the time and win. So we're working in a realm of reality that's different. And phenomena are things you can't explain through science or through your mind. And when this happens, our five senses only pick up 5% of the energy around us. And so it's really important to remember that there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't even know about. And we can't see, we can't hear, we can't taste it, we can't feel it. And we, our minds can't wrap around it. And so most of us are living in Newtonian physics in the 5 senses where we can actually see what's going on around us. And I'm here to tell you that's only about 3 to 5% of what's going on. The rest of it is subtle energies, elemental energies, mental, astral, all kinds of energies that are hitting us. Energies from the angelic realms, energies from planetary effects on us. I totally believe in astrology, numerology, and all of the ologies because they are based in quantum mechanics rather than Newtonian physics. So let's go to the next slide. So what is our reality? What is our reality? And all of you believe in this, I'm pretty sure, that are here. We're infinite beings of light. Our energy is infinite and expansive. Some of us are contracted. I'll tell you a story about that. We create our reality through our attention, thoughts, emotions, physical choices, and interaction with the infinite or spiritual realm and others. And health comes from a healthier reality. One of my most important things I do with people is when they come in really sick and they're dying, I ask them, do you want to live? And if they say, no, not really, I say, well, we'll make you comfortable. And if they say, I want to live, I tell them, well, let's help you live and live a good life. Let's get rid of this disease or inflammation or problem you're having. Now, multiple sources of toxins are in our environment, and they can be reduced or eliminated. I've found over the years when I started medical school, 0.5% of the people I dealt with in medicine, my patients, 0.5% had a chronic inflammatory disease. Now guess how much that is up to? 60% of the people in the United States are diagnosed with a chronic inflammatory disease, and 30% are diagnosed with 2 or more, which is crazy. So if I clean up my environment and body, and I help others to be educated, you're going to help change the planet, aren't we? So, healthy mantras, I just want to talk about this. I'm going to tell a story first, though. I had a lady come into me, and literally, when she opened the door, she could barely open the door, and she walks in, and I can feel the energy of people, and I couldn't feel anything off this woman. And I looked at her and I said, "Are you a ghost?" And you know what she said to me? "Just about." And I was like, wow. And I said, "Why can't I see any of your energy?" And she said, "I came here to be healed, not to be questions. I don't have the strength to answer all these questions. I came to you because I have stage 4 cancer. My other doctors told me there's nothing I can do, and I believe you can heal me because I asked my angels and they said, you're the one." This was 7 years ago. And I looked at her and I thought, oh geez, what did her angels tell her? You know? And anyway, we went about the process. The first thing I asked her is, "Do you want to live?" And she said, "Yes. I've got 2 young kids." I think her kids were like 2 and 4 at the time. And, you know, a younger woman, she was only 42. And beautiful, long blonde hair, but her body was literally eating itself up. She showed me some of the wounds on her body, and literally her flesh was decaying. There were huge holes and ulcerations, and just looked really, really bad. And stage 4 cancer is an interesting thing. Once you get that diagnosis, you go, oh my hell, you know, am I going to make it through this? Well, I'm here to tell you I made it through it, because 26 years ago I was diagnosed with stage 4 malignant melanoma, and it had invaded into my spine and my brain. And I was able to cure that using some of the methods I'm going to tell you about. Now, this woman, first thing we did was we hooked her up to this device I've got called the body scan, and it couldn't even pick up her energy. She was flatlining. And so I had to literally ask the angels and ask the universe to give her enough energy so she could show up on the machine. And as soon as we did that, she showed up on the machine, and then I made her some remedies from the machine. And I put her on some herbs to clean out the tumors and the parasites and the fungus and the viruses that were taking over her body. So we did a lot of stuff, and told her to avoid sugars and toxins and, you know, change everything. And literally, and I also did some energy work on her to help give her enough energy so she could make it through the first 24 hours, because I knew the first 24 hours were going to be very difficult. And I did what I call toning on her, which is God sounds sent out to heal the body. And back then I was doing certain tones to help the different chakras, and I really sent a lot to her chest and everything. And so I told her that night she would probably drain a lot of fluid out of those tumors and those wounds. And sure enough, she literally had to get in the bathtub that night because she was draining so much fluid all night long. And she came to me the next morning. I mean, this was literally about 18 hours later. And everything looked horrible, but energetically, all the cancer was dead. And during the night, she told me how she drained all this fluid all night long, and everything was shrinking and scarring and going through a process. And she came to me the next day and she says, what do? I look horrible. I don't want to look like this the rest of my life. And so I asked the angels, who told her that I would help her heal. I said, what do we do? Because I didn't know what to do. And literally they told me to bring in the sun people. Now, sun people? Who are the sun people? I didn't know who the sun people were. And they said the people living on the sun. And I'm like, I didn't know there were people living on the sun. Did any of you? And it's like, well, okay, let's ask them to come and heal you. And I told her, go back home, lay in your tub, and I don't know why, but I had her lay in her tub and had her call in the sun people. And she went home and called in the sun people, and she saw these beings that were golden came in and started pouring golden fluid over her body. And as they were pouring it, her breasts started looking normal again. Her lesion on her back went away and started looking normal again. There was a lot of scar tissue. Don't get me wrong, it took a while to totally heal her. But within 48 hours, she pretty much was doing really good. And you know what she did? She came into my office, and there was a couple people in there, and she flipped up her shirt and said, look! And I looked, and her breasts were perfect. And I was like, holy cow, how'd that happen? You know, and she said, it was the sun people. They came and poured the water over me. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you that story because that was like, wow, a miracle, you know? That's one of those things you don't see every day. It's a transphenomenal healing. And very, very impressive. My own healing was similar. One of the things, too, we helped her with was there was some scar tissue. And she didn't want the scar tissue either. And she desired to have her body look perfect again. And so we started using different enzymes and different products on the skin to help the scarring, like nattokinase and serrapeptase. We used a lot of coconut oil, a lot of grapeseed oil, and believe it or not, olive oil, and Araglow. Oh, it was interesting. When I showed her the Araglow, she says, I've got to have that. Her internal knowing knew. I don't know how many of you ever heard of Araglow. It's a mixture that Edgar Casey came out with to help the skin heal and help heal fungal infections and different problems with the skin. I was told when I got cancer, the reason I was carrying the product is I used it all the time because I was told by an intuitive that if I would use this Araglow every day, my malignant melanoma would not recur because it was a black fungus. And Araglow kills fungus. It's very good for keeping the skin from aging. So anyway, I'm going to go on to healthy mantras, and then we'll tell some more stories. But when going to the bathroom, number one or number two, say in your mind or out loud, I release the toxins in my body. I do that every time I go to the bathroom. Well, maybe not every time, but most times. And the reason I do that, I know that what you tell your body to do, it will do. Because our minds are very powerful. They actually control what goes on in our physiology. And they control what goes on in our astral plane, our mental plane, our spiritual plane. And so, when you breathe, I release the toxic vapors from my system and bring in healing prana and oxygen. The prana helps feed our souls. One of the reasons this woman had no energy whatsoever is she put a stealth energy around her and a protective layer that didn't even allow the prana to come in and feed her spirit. And I had to tell her, you need to release that and let the prana come in. It's like when Christ said, don't hide your light under a bushel, but let it shine to the world. That serves two purposes. We help give our good energy to other people, but we also can receive the good energy. When we eat our food, bless it. You know, we've always grew up with our families blessing the food, but I bless the food to cleanse and detoxify my body, and I also try to eat the best food available, the least toxic food available, organic foods and different things. And when we drink, we need to bless the fluid that cleans and detoxify our body. It's quite interesting. They add chemicals to our water systems for a couple of reasons. The fluoride to keep decay away, which has only been proven to do that up to 5 years of age. And they add chlorine, which is a very highly toxic oxidizer. And it kills bacteria, but it also, in certain quantities, can harm our bodies. And so one of the things that I learned to do, my wife was running marathons a couple of years ago, and we would run up to this fountain, and it was the only water around, and I didn't want to carry water with me, and the water tasted terrible. St. George has horrible, it's got really calcified, a lot of minerals, and it's even got, what's the poison that women give their husbands to kill them? Arsenic. Arsenic. Yes. It has arsenic in it. And every year we get this nice pamphlet that says how our water has passed all of the testing and everything. And then in little fine print it says, except for the arsenic, which is above U.S. standards. And, it's a beautiful pamphlet, and nobody ever reads the whole thing. But I read it, and I was like, whoa, we got arsenic in our water. And they say how it's too expensive to remove it, so they give us, our stamp of approval, even though we've got plenty of arsenic. But anyway, I blessed this fountain that the water would taste good and that would be good for us. And I drank it, and I was like, oh, this tastes good. Vicky, come over here and taste this water. And she came over, and she's like, yeah, that is good. And it was pretty amazing, because every time we ran by, we'd bless that fountain, and then other people would tell us, oh, the fountain, this is the best tasting fountain in St. George. And, it was fascinating, just because we do have that quantum ability within our souls to bless things, to bless others, to bless the water, to bless the food, all kinds of stuff. So I just wanted to bring that up. One of the things, I'm not going to take a lot of time, because I want Angela to spend some time talking about some of this stuff, because she does healing trips down to Peru, and it's pretty interesting. I've done twice, and I love both times. But spiritual healers, when I was in medical school, I was told this was all quackery. Don't get involved in that, because it's quackery. What does quackery mean? The history of that term was, there was a physician who started doing some of this stuff, and I believe he had the name of quack, and so they started calling it quackery. And but what I found is these guys have something to offer all of us. It's fascinating. Chiropractors, naturopathic physicians, craniosacral therapists, massage therapists, intuitive healers, shaman, medicine men or women, sound or toning therapists, acupuncture specialists, past life regressionists, many, many more, herbalists, nutritionists, homeopathy doctors. I have used literally everybody on this list in my life. And I'm here to tell you, I should have been dead at the age of 29. If I'd have listened to the doctors who told me I was going to be dead in 3 months, go home and get your house in order, I wouldn't be here talking to you. But I've used all of this. I started out using herbs, and Hulda Clark was a microbiologist of all things. And she had found that parasites cause cancer. And she told me my melanoma was due to a black fungus, flukes, and some viruses. And so we started cleaning these things up. She also told me I had heavy lead poisoning. She told me to divorce my wife and do other things. And she was pretty radical. I didn't divorce my wife. I didn't move out of my house. But I was cured within 2 months. And pretty dang amazing. And over the years, I've had other problems, and I started using these people because that's where I got healed. Not saying anything to dish the medical doctors. They're great for certain things, but let me tell you, spiritual healers are amazing, and they're good for you. And so if one approaches you, or you feel you need to go see one, go see one. It was really interesting. I went to Hawaii a year ago to finish my book because I had another near-death experience. I got a stone in my ampulla vater. Now, if you don't know what that is, that's the duct that enters the small intestine from the pancreas and the gallbladder and the liver. And literally all my pancreatic juices and the bile started backing up into my pancreas and caused what we call pancreatitis. Now when you get pancreatitis, it's not fun, because those enzymes start eating your pancreas. They start eating it. They just love it. And pretty soon you don't have much of a pancreas left. By the time I was able to get that stone to pass, I had 10% of my pancreas left, which isn't much. And I was nigh on needing insulin, and my sugars were out of control, and my whole body was out of whack. And my angel said, you can go to the hospital and have a procedure, a Whipple procedure, and you'll probably die. Or you can go to Hawaii and eat passion fruit papaya. Guess what I did? It was so interesting, because the morning my guides told me that, Barbara, who's Angela's sister, came over to our house, and is what my wife's sister, and said to us, oh, we're going to Hawaii. And I'm like, which island are you going to? The Big Island. And I'm like, that's the one I'm supposed to go to. Do you have any more tickets? She says, no. And I'm like, well, I'm dying, and I need to go. So call your friend and see if he's got any more tickets, because she had a friend who worked for the United Airlines. And she called him up, and it so happened his boss had given him 2 extra tickets for Christmas bonus that morning, and he sold them to us. And so we all 8 of us went to Hawaii, and we had the most wonderful time. But the most important part of that whole trip was I was eating the passion fruit and the papaya, and they're enzymatically very good for your body. They ate that stone up enough that by the time we got up to the caldera, I was told to go up to the caldera and do the toning, the God sounds. And the vibration of that God sound literally popped that stone out of my pancreas and it started draining. It was so nice, because all of a sudden this stabby knife sort of pain just went away. And I was like, oh, thank you. It was amazing, but it was another transphenomenal healing. I mean, it's crazy. You think about it, you go, okay, who's he listening to when he says this stuff? Well, actually, I listen to these guys, but I listen to the people on the other side too, the angels and my guides and those sort of things. Now, there's many modalities, including all of these therapists. There's single herbs and herbal combinations. There's tonics, liquid brews, non-fermented and fermented. I probably got burned to the stake in a past life for making those. But anyway, homeopathic remedies and tinctures, essential oils and blends, kombucha and medicinal mushrooms, fermented foods, probiotics. We just got done with a marvelous meeting talking about how all of our biomes have been altered through chemicals, through antibiotics, through different things that all of us are exposed to. And it's literally altered the flora, the good bacteria that live on our skin and in our intestines. And if we can correct that, we can correct a lot of the chronic inflammatory diseases. So, it's amazing. So good bacteria in your body do a lot of good things. Bad bacteria in your body do bad things. And the fungus does bad things. And so do parasites. And you guys all know I talk a lot about parasites. But cleanses, fasts, sweating, yoga, all of these things are very good. Liver cleanses, kidney cleanses, lymphatic drainage, heavy metal chelating, petrochemical and plastic cleansing, healing gems and blessed trinkets and items, protective amulets and devices. Surround yourself with high vibrating beings, including good friends. Very important. I have a little story about this petrochemical and plastic cleansing. The systemics formulas people developed a 60-day detox, they called it. I turned it into a 90-day detox because 60 days was too fast, and a lot of people had Herxheimer reactions, which are too fast of cleansing reactions. And so I I did this because I wanted to try it out myself and see if it would be good for my patients. And after 20 days of doing it, all of a sudden I could not go to the bathroom. And I was like, what in the heck is going on? The first part cleans up the organs of elimination. Came to find out, plastics get into our lymphatics and they plug up the ducts in our colon. Our lymphatics years and years ago used to dump our toxins in our colon and then we poop them out. Well, since the advent of plastics, a lot of us get those clogged up. And so the toxins just circulate around, and if the liver can get rid of a few, it does. If the kidneys can get rid of a few, it does. If the skin can get rid of a little bit, it does. But truthfully, the best way to get rid of plastics is pass them out through the lymph ducts in the colon and get them out of your system. That's why the rate of colon cancer and all these things have gone up, because these plastics stay in our body and cause hormonal changes. They attach to our cell membranes. They cause all kinds of problems. But anyway, I had to go, okay, angels, why is my colon plugged up? And you know what they told me? Plastic. I was like, plastic? What the heck? And I was like, well, how do I get rid of it? And they said, you're going to have to clean it out. Have you or somebody else put their finger up there and pull that plastic plug out. And literally, I had to dig into my rectum, and I pulled out a piece of plastic about this long and about the size of a nickel around, and it was very odd shape, because plastics kind of accumulate. They aggregate to each other. That's kind of one of the things they do. That's how come you can make plastic stuff. I saw this printer, brand new printer on the TV the other night. You can make whatever the heck you want out of plastic with this printer. And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. But we're making stuff in our colons that clogs our colons up, literally, and makes it so the lymph doesn't dump all the toxins out. And so this particular cleanse helps clean out the petrochemicals. Now, where do you get petrochemicals? Where do you think you get them? You know, for years we were told, oh, geez, our water's bad. So we drank bottled water. And what was it? Bottled in plastic. And then we had plastic containers. And, you know, everything that we store our food in was plastic. And now we're getting smart and we're storing it in glass. But we're still exposed to thousands of molecules of plastic every year. And so it's important to clean those things out. And the Systemic Formulas has made products that actually pull these off. And there's other companies too, but I found these guys are on the cutting edge because they came out with this latest thing about the biome and helping get your good flora back in. You know, they talk about convalescence. I'm getting close to the end here. Convalescence, what's the definition of convalescing? When you're sick, you actually do things to help your body heal. Instead of getting out in the hospital and going right back to work, you get out of the hospital and you take care of yourself. You allow your body to heal. And during that process, you give yourself basic things. The paleo diet is going crazy. Why? Because it's the original human diet. And what they did with this, they took and you would take the bones and the meat and throw it all in a pot. And you would cook it for at least 24 hours so it leaches all the minerals out and all the good things out of the bones and the meat. And then you drink the broth, because the broth, literally, the bad bacteria, the bad fungus in your body can't eat it, and so they die off. And so you drink this broth for 3 to 5 days. Why? It takes 3 to 5 days for your intestines to reform the cilia, to heal. And then you start slowly adding vegetables and good things. Well, knowing I was coming to Fairfield, actually I didn't do this.